Namaste and welcome to the Divas That Care Network. I'm your host, Gia-Raquel Rose, owner of Airs Above Yoga, and you are listening to Above the Ground podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, our network is in its 16th year and listened to in over 30 countries. I'd like to personally thank you for giving me the gift of your time. As always, it is my honor to hold space with and for you. And today we are on the heels of our, we'll call it confession episode, messy and magical, with the little announcement of the new yoga studio that's opened in New Jersey for those of you that are in the tri-state area and virtually. So if you ever want to practice with us, we'd love to have you. And this is going to be our meditation episode. So I did, in that vein, try to have a midday meditation class so that I could record and post meditations for everyone. However, there are some neighbors in the building, and noon was not the ideal time to still and quiet with some restaurants up above us. So we're going to have to just stick with the original plan, which is these meditations that I will share with you on a monthly basis. So for this particular meditation, as we talked about moon salutes and we talked about transitions, this meditation is going to highlight or help you get in touch with the transition that most needs to be brought into your awareness. So the idea of potentially something incoming that's not in your awareness yet. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to help predict the future for you. But it does mean that, maybe there's something subtle that you have an inkling towards that might be in flux. Or maybe there's something that you want to create transition in. So I don't want this meditation to come from a place of stagnancy where you need to be spurred into action. I want it to come from a place of receptivity to what is naturally transitioning for you in your life. And obviously, that's going to be something that only you can truly tell and know. But I hope that this meditation will offer a way for you, as always, to tap into your higher self, to your own communion with the divine, whatever verbiage you prefer to associate with that is fine. Again, this is a space of non-judgment and non-harm. And to help you cultivate that awareness. That is my goal with this podcast. That is my goal with the studio, is to empower all individuals across the board to deepen their connection with themselves. And I had an interesting conversation recently with a friend of mine who's just such a great time, such a fun human being, and very, very intelligent and tenacious, wonderful, wonderful woman. I didn't let her know that we had a difference of opinion simply because it's not, I often say, a lot of people, I'm sure you've heard the term, others' opinions of you don't matter or don't count, whatever, right? Like your opinion of yourself is what matters, is what that's supposed to allude to. I've always thought my opinions of others is none of their business, right? So I try to generally keep my opinions to myself, more often than not. Sometimes I lapse, but more often than not, I try to keep my opinions to myself unless they're solicited, or I've trained myself to offer the preface. Do you want my opinion or my listening ear? Would you like advice, or would you like me to just hold space? And it took me years to cultivate that. So, that's a good step towards transitioning from overly eager help, which is kind of my nature, to jump in the Florence Nightingale syndrome, something like that. So the difference of opinion is relevant to this, because and this is most human beings, and I might be wrong. So we'll just throw it out that my opinion may not be correct, and that's okay. And it might not also be correct for all people or in all situations. There is no such thing as a blanket statement, but my thought process varied from hers. And she was of the mindset that you can potentially gather in a safe space, a group of friends, family, confidants, however you want to, whatever language you want to use to surround that, and share your worries, concerns, troubles, etc., so that you are offered feedback that potentially you did not think of yourself. And that is valuable. Coming from a collaborative nature of opening a business and having instructors with great ideas and capitalizing on those for the betterment of the student and the instructor and the business, like 100% yes. In business, 100% yes. In nonprofit space that I support, 100% yes. Like collaboration is key. However, when it comes to my personal life, I won't say your personal life, I will say my personal life. And and I can't speak to this, so please, when I say this word, forgive me for even touching on it. When it comes from like a manifestation quantum physics standpoint, there is an argument to be made about sharing the negative or compounding something that you might need advice on. It's rare that like things are going wonderfully and everything's perfect and you want advice on how good things are. Like it's wonderful to celebrate your joys and wins with your friends. But when you're looking for feedback, it's generally to overcome a situation, a challenge, a problem, whatever you want to call it. And so that was the nature of this conversation. And I, over many years, have relied solely on myself. Maybe that's a trauma response. It absolutely could be. It might not. I'm not saying my opinion is right. But there is the argument from the you create your own reality, quantum mechanics, manifestation argument that if you complain and perpetuate the negative, or you share or rehash that story or that experience or that narrative, that you are deepening the pathways and confirming the very reality that you're trying to change, negate, redirect, however, again, you want to categorize it for yourself. So I just kind of like went with her on that and said, yeah, there is definitely benefit that can be had. However, my experience was even in therapy, so it was actually a qualified professional. I believe that the cultivation with your own intuition, this is my belief, not fact, and not for anybody else. You're free to believe whatever you want. I'm only sharing my opinion, which I just said I didn't do. Haha. So I'm going against my own narrative, right? But my belief is that the answers you seek lie within. I know I didn't coin that phrase. The answers you seek lie within. That doesn't mean that other people's opinions are not coming from a place of kindness, support, but they're coming from their perspective. They're coming from their experiences. They're coming from their framework, their mindset, their everything, not yours. They don't know everything about your situation. They don't know everything about your journey. They don't know your path. They don't know your upbringing. Only the universe, God, source, I don't care, whatever you want to call it, you and those are the only two beings that know. Maybe some angels, if you believe in angels. Maybe, all right, like sprinkle some fairy dust on that. But that being said, please, this is my point of this is why I do this. This is why I do these meditations. Develop a connection to your intuition, your higher self. Develop a relationship, trusting what you hear, feel, intuit, and follow that guidance. Because I believe, even when contrary to external opinions, it might look crazy, like, opening a yoga studio, right? Follow that guidance, because you don't even know your path. You know what you're drawn to, what you're passionate about. And a lot of times that follow your bliss, right? That's what my mom used to say, follow your bliss. That is your path, right? It's easier said than done, right? But it takes a leap of faith. And oftentimes people's advice comes from that 3D perspective, and it doesn't make it wrong advice. It doesn't make it bad advice, but it doesn't make it divine guidance if you believe in that kind of thing, which clearly I do, for better or worse. Like, I'm not going to say that every choice I've made has been in keeping with that divine guidance. A lot of choices that I've made were in like fear-based choices, situationally created, that I reacted to. So if you're coming from an idea of creation rather than reaction, creating a reality, not reacting to the reality. There's an argument to be made. Again, quantum physics, quantum mechanics. And the argument is that your brain, you're never in reality. You are in a projection of your own mental calculation. And it's every moment of your day that it's projecting out this reality that you have experienced. And again, please follow a physicist online somewhere and verify this, because this is not my field, but it's been noted multiple times over that this projection, the way that our brain retains information and spits it back out, our perceptions are based on our own brain, much less than the reality, which is why two shared experiences can be completely different. And that is why I will unalive on this hill under this flag. Please develop a relationship with your intuition, your heart space, your divine guidance, your true North Star, which is within you and connected to above you, however you do it. And I hope that these meditations help you do that. That's why I do them, because I don't want to be responsible for telling you how to live your life. I want to be responsible for helping you make choices that align with your higher self, your soul's purpose, your reason for being on this planet. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I feel called to do. Help you figure it out for yourself. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to hopefully offer a tool to support you in that vein. That's what this is about. That's what this is for. And I hope that it helps. That's the only thing that I can do, is hope that it helps. And I'm not going to tell you you're going to get it right every time, but if you don't start to quiet your mind, still the fear and the reaction, and if you don't start to do that, you're never gonna find it. You're never gonna get there, because it starts with the stillness. It all starts with the stillness, and then from the stillness, you start to develop whatever way you filter, whatever way your body is able to process the intuitive hits that you get, whether it's physically, mentally. For me, it can be different feelings in my body that I get that I've over time associated with yes or no, right or wrong, true or not true for me. And you can ask for your own divine guidance. You can ask for, you can say, like, this is a yes for me, this is a no. Please communicate with me in that way. And ask your body that. Developing the connection with your body, developing the connection with your higher self. Decisions are made before they're even brought to your awareness. Your body, your system knows what it's going to do, and it's based on all of these experiences that your brain has processed. So in order to have new and better experiences, you need to break that chain. So I'm going to offer you now the opportunity to intuit where there may be a transitioning occurring for you in your life. And you may know what it is, and maybe this will offer guidance, or it may be, incoming, and maybe it's on its way and you feel it. You have this vibe, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, trust that, please. Start to develop trust. This is a practice like yoga. It is a practice. It's not perfect. There is some trial and error. This is hopefully guiding you to try as safely as possible to dabble, to start to create that relationship with your inner self, with your body, with your breath, and with your consciousness, your higher consciousness. So, as I do with every meditation episode, now that I've given my spiel, thank you for listening and for your patience. I will now give you the opportunity to set yourself up comfortably. As always, the traditional meditative seat is on a small pillow or folded blanket, whatever is comfortable for you. In a cross-legged seat, traditionally, lotus if you can get there. I do not recommend, big spoiler alert, do not sit in lotus unless you're super comfy in lotus, which is lotus is a very challenging pose that people with unhappy knees should probably take time to shy away from. So please, 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 cross-legged seat is perfectly fine. Again, you can sit in a chair, much like mine, if it has four legs, and you can comfortably sit up straight with your feet grounded on the earth. Ideal. Hands can be palms up or palms facing down. And as I've said in every episode, I'm a huge fan, even though it is not traditional, of laying down in meditation as long as you're not so tired that you will fall asleep mid meditation, which is not the goal. You can also take your legs up the wall. If you choose to take your legs up the wall, in order to have a sensation of groundedness, it is nice to take a pillow on the bottom of your feet, whether that's an eye pillow, a covered eye pillow, so we're not going feet to eyeballs, but an eye pillow or a floppy pillow, some weight that's not going to topple on top of you as you are laying in your meditation. The idea of whatever position you choose to be in is that you can completely relax the body so that the mind is not being pulled into discomfort. Oh, my back hurts. Oh, this position's uncomfortable. You want to set yourself up completely propped, situated, and comfortable so that you do not have that physical pull from the mental stillness. Finally, the other two ways are Shavasana position, so edges of the feet at the edges of a mat, potentially, with the toes rolling out. Again, palms facing up for inspiration, down for extra grounding. And lastly, if you have no props and some lower back issues and you don't feel like putting your legs fully up the wall, edges of the feet, soles of the feet down, edges of the feet to the edges of the mat, knees gently resting in on each other, bent. That should alleviate and actually give a nice little sacral release for you. And then from there, gently beginning to close your eyes or lower your gaze. And hopefully, I have given you plenty of time to set yourself up appropriately. And as we begin, drawing your awareness into your body by connecting with your breath. And as you breathe, allowing that energy to flow into all the points of contact between yourself and the earth beneath you as you truly begin to ground down. With your exhales, releasing any tension or discomfort completely into the support of the earth beneath you. And with your inhales, breathing in sensations of lightness, softness, recycling, if you will, old stagnant energy which may no longer serve with each exhale, and actively drawing in new, fresh energy with each inhale. With every round of breath, keeping your awareness focused on the ebb and flow. And as with most meditation, understanding that it is a practice and allowing the thoughts that inevitably flood into the mind's eye to be acknowledged, thanked, and released. And in this practice, we begin to develop the awareness of our higher self, the conscious observer of our thoughts. We begin to understand the distinction between our true higher self and the mind that we feel potentially captivated by. And continuing this practice of allowing, allow the thoughts to come if they do, refocusing, bringing yourself and your awareness back to your breathing with every thought that comes through your mind. Thank you. Release. And for those who it serves to have another focal point, with your mind's eye, begin to feel yourself on a sandy beach, whether you're laying or seated. Feel the gently uneven support of the sand beneath your body. Feel the warmth from above and below you as the sun radiates down on you and as the sand beneath you warms the back of your body. If your feet are grounded, maybe take a moment to wiggle your toes and feel the sensation of the sand on the bottoms of your feet and in between your toes. And feel this grounded, stable sensation of your body and the warmth of the earth beneath you. And then begin to look down towards your feet and see the water just in front of you. Allow it to look any way that it needs to for you. Maybe a gentle climbing wave coming into the shoreline. Maybe the sunlight is sparkling off the ripples. Take a moment to really visualize, smell the salt air, feel the warmth beneath you, maybe a gentle breeze on your skin. Maybe you hear seagulls, maybe you hear the gentle rush of the water. And then taking your eyes and noticing in which direction you see a small boat. Is it to your right or is it to your left? Safely and gently make your way over to that boat.
Notice that it has oars. Notice that it is sturdy and stable. If it happens to have a sail for you, that's fine as long as there is a rudder. And gently begin to take the boat by hand and walk with it just into the water. Feel the cool splash at your feet and ankles. Feel the weight of the boat soften and ease as the water catches it. Note how you feel. Is there a twinge of excitement or anticipation? When you're ready, with full certainty that this boat is stable and that you have complete control, gently climb aboard, taking hold of the rudder or your oars. Gently start to maneuver the boat in whichever direction it was facing, right or left, parallel to the shoreline. And as you maneuver, row, or allow the wind to take the sail, settle into the sensation of freedom. Feel the gentle rising and falling of the water beneath you. Again, the soft breeze on your skin, the warmth of the sun, the rhythm of the stroke, the joy of the present moment. Breathe in that ease. Soften into that space of receptivity to the current of the water beneath you with full trust, full certainty, and full knowledge that where you're going is calling you, that it is safe, that you're excited to be en route. And as you bask in this stillness, in this flow, look up to the horizon, keeping in mind that you're parallel to the shoreline, not floating out to sea. And notice that off in the distance there's a peninsula. Not rocky. The waves aren't crashing into it. It could almost be a sandbar. What landscape do you see on that peninsula? Allow your mind's eye as you approach this point in your horizon to begin to show you what you're steering towards. This transition can be anywhere in your life. Don't force what appears on the peninsula. Receive it. What comes into your mind's eye. Continue to bring the horizon closer to your perspective. Allow what comes into your mind's eye to begin to stir feelings in your body. Remember to stay in that trust. Remember the shoreline is just to your side. Remember that as easily as you can continue to steer directly into the peninsula, you can also go right back to the shoreline if you feel the need to. At any point in time, that shoreline, the same soft and warm sand, is available to you. You are safe, and this transition is safe. This boat is sturdy, and you can trust in not only the boat, but in your ability to steer, to row, to catch the wind. See yourself now approaching the peninsula. Begin to internalize the feeling of being there. And then look to the corner where the peninsula meets the shoreline. And begin to steer your boat in the direction of that corner. See the peninsula on whichever side is now opposite the shoreline. As you begin to steer yourself home, back to the same beach that you took the boat from, only now closer to the peninsula than you were originally. And as you approach the shore, allow the feeling of anticipation, of excitement, of receptivity to stay in your heart space. When you feel ready, Take a solid grip of the boat and gently jump back into the water. Begin to take the boat with you safely out of the water, smelling the salt air, feeling the sand and the water on the soles of your feet up to your ankles and knees. And as you bring the boat fully out of the water onto the beach, give it a pat, show some gratitude and respect for the safe passage that it helped you give yourself, and take a moment to sit or lay back on the same beach, grounding down into the same sand with the awareness of how close you truly are to that peninsula and to the people that are on it, or the circumstances that you saw appear for you there. Same beach, same sand, same you, with a little more awareness and much closer to receiving this transition that is next for you on your journey. Begin now to ground down to the sensation of the sand beneath your feet, of the warmth of the earth on your back, the warmth of the sun on your face. Ground yourself now back into your body by bringing your hands to your heart center and focusing on that feeling of excitement and anticipation. Begin to deepen your breathing slowly and softly, memorizing the feeling and the excitement of the next step. And yet, even in that excitement, feeling the sensation of the support and grounded stability of the beach and the earth beneath you. And knowing that even though you're farther along the shoreline, you are still in the exact same beach. You are still connected to the same earth, and you are still in the same body and experience from where you started. Ground yourself back into your body by beginning to make those small, gentle movements. You can continue to imagine that you're working your toes into the sand. When you begin to wiggle your toes, you can begin to move your fingers as your awareness comes back into your body, fully and completely grounding yourself into the present moment. And when you feel cold and ready, gently lifting your gaze as you open your eyes. As always, feel free to stay in meditation if you feel called, but practice grounding back into your body upon every exit from a meditation consistently. As you continue to deepen your breath, take all the time you need, And if you are in a reclined position, gently rolling to your right side before making your way to a comfortable seat. Remember always to stay hydrated, and it's always good to drink or eat a small something. I prefer dark chocolate, but whatever, to each their own, as you come out of meditation to help to continue to ground that awareness back into your body. I hope this transition finds you overjoyed in it, with it, and for it. I hope that it spoke to you in a way that is just between you and your divine communion. And as always, I'm always happy to guide you personally on any transition that you feel called to, knowing full well that it will be you who makes any ultimate decision with your higher self, and that all I'm here to do is to help you formulate that connection. And so, with all of that being said, I want to tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you for sharing this space with me, and ask that you so feel free to share the same with your loved ones. For more goodness, follow me on all the socials at Above the Ground Podcast, and you can visit my website, airsabove.com, if you'd like to work with me. As always, don't forget to check out my other episodes and all of my amazing sisters at the Divas That Care Network. You can find us on Odyssey, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Buzzsprout, or anywhere else that you might feel guided. Again, my name is Gia-Raquel Rose, owner of Airs Above Yoga, and you are listening to Above the Ground podcast, where every day is a good one.